So, a shocking number of Americans want to secede from the Union. This is reported in Mediaite. And roughly 4 in 10, 41% of Biden supporters, and half of Trump voters, 52%, at least somewhat agree that it's time to split the country, favoring blue-red states seceding from the Union. Wow. The report continues by examining the broad political dissolution felt by members of both parties. On one hand, roughly 80% of Trump and Biden voters view democracy as preferable to any non-democratic kind of government. On the other hand, more than 6 in 10 Trump and Biden voters see America as less a representative democracy and more a system that is run by and rigged for the benefit of the wealthy. See, now that's the key right there. Here's why, in many ways, this is just a disheartening but also illuminating poll, is that 41% of Biden voters want to secede from the Union, 52% of Trump voters want to secede from the Union. But then when you get into the specifics, you find out that the main gripe is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Again, 6 in 10 Trump and Biden voters see America as just basically a corporatocracy, an oligarchy. It's rigged by the wealthy and their interests against everybody else. So if you agree on the problem, and you agree, 80% agree that democracy is preferable to any non-democratic kind of government, how are you not connecting the dots, guys? The reason why you want to secede is actually not, it's not just, the partisan differences are too much. Tribal red versus tribal blue. And the culture war is overwhelming. And let's only focus on that. That's actually not the heart of the problem. The heart of the problem is you both feel completely and utterly powerless and useless and ineffectual because the wealthy have rigged the system. So, and this was always the problem, is that Trump painted a picture that was incorrect. His picture was xenophobic one, where you scapegoat black and brown people, particularly immigrants and Muslims, and you say, they're the problem. The immigrants got here and they hopped the line and they're getting more benefits than you, the good white working class American. And so he gave a narrative to people. It was a false narrative, but he gave a narrative and sprinkled some fake populism on top of it. The Democrats didn't make the counter argument. The counter argument is, well, hold on now. Poor black and brown person, poor white person, working class, white person, brown person, black person, whatever, fill in the blank. You guys are not each other's enemy. You have a lot more in common. The real enemy is the top 1% who rigged the system against you. And it's because of them, they're running out the back door with all the money as they get you to fight amongst yourselves. And that's exactly what's happening. That's the narrative that's true. Now, deep down, a lot of Trump supporters know that's true because 6 in 10 say that's the problem. But then on the other hand, you say, well, we should probably secede. But if you secede and you have a red state, red America and blue America, well, guess what? You're still going to have the problem of the wealthy rigging the system. So red America and blue America would both be victims of their new red America government and blue America government, because they would be run by the oligarchy, run by the corporations, run by the billionaires. And then you realize, well, what's going to happen? Are blue Americans going to turn on other blue Americans? Are red Americans going to turn on other red Americans? Are they going to do the same divide and conquer trick and get you to be at each other's throats? Probably. But until we all realize what the problem is, it's class politics, it's corruption. That's the main problem. Until we address that directly, all these other problems are going to get worse. So, now listen, having said all that, as a matter of principle, do I think, a lot of people will see this and say, never. You can never, under any circumstances, split up America. I don't say never. I say if there really are irreconcilable differences at a time when you've fundamentally addressed the root problems, well then, yeah, if free people want to make their own decision to split up America into 5 different countries or 6 different countries or whatever, if a majority of people voted for it, would I say never? No, I would respect that vote. I would. And depending on the circumstances, there are instances in which I could see myself supporting that. So I'm not one of the people who would say never under any circumstance. I think that goes way too far. But what I will say is, no way, unless and until we at least address the real root problem. The root problem being the corporations and billionaires rigging the system against average people and for themselves. Address the fact that it's an oligarchy and a corporatocracy. Address that. Do a New Deal. Get the money out of politics. have a real social safety net and a social democracy. My guess is if you address those problems, well, then the xenophobia drops, the bigotry drops, and even though there will still be a culture war and there will still be partisanship, the temperature will get taken way down, and not nearly as many people would want to secede. So that's my reading of the situation. But we're already at almost a crisis point in terms of the partisan tribalism and hatred among people, even though deep down people seem to know that's not the real issue. The real issue isn't the culture war and the partisanship and the tribalism. The real issue is the corruption, and that is somehow making us turn on each other and hate our fellow Americans as opposed to trying to take the system back from the elites who have rigged it in their favor. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.